Hey, my name is Katy Perez Fuentes. I am a visual artist, emerging astrologer, and tarot reader. Today I'm going to be starting a Decan Walk series. This is a way to interpret astrology, tarot, and the planetary language that combines the two. I've been super inspired by people like Coppock, T. Susan Chang, Mychal Bryan, and other esoteric knowledge keepers, especially over the last year. I'm hoping to share my personal synthesis of what I've learned so far and continue building this language with my friends, community, and people who are interested in thinking about alternative narrative structures for reflecting on a year. So let's begin. A decan is a subsection of a zodiac sign equally divided into three parts. So from 0 degrees in zodiacal longitude to 10 would be the first decan, from 10 to 20 the second, and 20 to 29 degrees and 59 minutes as the third decan. Each one of these is going to have a planet associated with it, along with the planetary ruler for the sign. I should mention I'm coming from a neoclassical astrology approach, so I'm going to be using the personal planets. Each one of these decans are also going to be associated with a minor arcana card in the tarot, as well as a major arcana card for the entire sign. So for Pisces, we have the moon card for the overall sign, and then the first 10 degrees are going to be associated with the 8 of cups. The second 10 will be with the 9 of cups, and the last decan of Pisces will be the 10 of cups. And sections are also going to be co-ruled by another major arcana card. So we can take the two major arcanas and interpret them together. So for the third decan of Pisces, we have the Tower card and the moon. So if you have any planets in these sections of a sign, you can use tarot to further interpret what these planetary placements might mean for you. So the motion of the zodiac signs already tell a story on their own. The beginning of every season is going to be kicked off by a cardinal sign. So Aries will be the start of the spring equinox, Capricorn will be the winter solstice, and so on. The fixed signs in astrology are going to be the highest point of that season. So Leo being the most summery part of summer, Scorpio being the most fall part of fall, and so forth. The mutable signs, Virgo, Gemini, Pisces, and Sagittarius, will be the decay of that season and the transition into the next one. Winter, for example, is starting off with the Saturn-ruled sign, Capricorn, focusing on rules, structures, regulations, slow, hard, steady work. Transitioning into the fixed part of winter, being Aquarius, another Saturnian-ruled sign, except Aquarius is going to focus more on a reimagined structure, reimagined interpretations of these rules, and something a little bit more inclusive for the collective. And we move on to the mutable part of winter, which is Pisces, a Jupiterian sign that wants to expand beyond these structures and limitations, that dreams bigger than what is already in front of it, and that works with the conscious, unconscious, and subconscious to align itself to a higher spiritual purpose. So Pisces is taking the knowledge of all the zodiac signs, all the test of time, to understand that there's something beyond what is physically tangible. Out of the water signs, Pisces is the raindrop that falls into the ocean and becomes one with the environment. The story of Pisces is represented by the moon card in the tarot, which is a kind of difficult card to work with because it has to deal with fantasy, illusion, which is the dreamy, wonderful, romantic parts of it, but also the nightmarish deceptions that come with not really knowing what's real and what is just a perception of reality. To decipher this, we are called to reflect inward, to spend time in solitude, to let go of things specifically in the material realm, and that could be rather terrifying for a lot of people. This is like looking into your blind spot, staring a little longer into the shadows, and actually seeking something that will help heal you, or heal the world, or heal something. The decan story offers a magnifying glass to the situation, as well as the planetary assignments for each of the decans as an alternative way to read into a part of the Pisces narrative. So the first part of Pisces is going to be 8 of Cups, and this has to deal with abandoned successes. This is Saturn in Pisces. Saturn does not do too well in Pisces because Saturn is about material, concrete, boundaries, restrictions, and Pisces is, like I said, the entire ocean, the mist that is up in the air, like everything. So this first card has to deal with traveling to the edge or the boundaries of reality and imagination. It is dealing with like hidden structures, some of those that we have created ourselves, and walking away from things, being able to recognize that what's in front of you is not quite enough, and there is a return to home, a return to source. If you want to see it from a more spiritual realm, this is the beginning to the end. The Pisces decans are almost like the sun setting, and this one is where we recognize the sun is at the horizon. We are acknowledging the separation of where the land meets the sky. That is this first decan of Pisces. Second decan is ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter in Pisces is in domicile. It's wonderful. This is like golden hour during the sunset, the most beautiful part of the day. And Nine of Cups is the card of like your wishes being granted, or just so close to like being granted, like you having almost everything that you ever wanted, like so close to that. This is about living a meaningful life. It's the reconciliation between meaningful purpose and what's actually worth the effort. So this reconciliation of your dreams is aligning yourself with like a spiritual or a higher vibration, something that's not tangible in this life, to then manifest something physically later on. But the physical or material happiness doesn't come until after there has been some sort of like emotional or spiritual fulfillment. That's what the second card is about. Second decan of Pisces, which is like peak romance, peak dreamy, like everyone's super excited for spring to come. It's a pretty good place to be. And then we have the third portion of Pisces, which is this 10 of Cups. And like upon first glance, it seems kind of nice. There's like a rainbow, people are really happy, all that kind of stuff. But then when you look at the other cards that are associated, we have the Tower, which is terrifying to get always, and the Moon, which was already about confusion, lies, and deceptions, coupled with this Tower that's about destruction, surprises, and upheaval. It's about the consummation of these wishes and the sacrifice needed in order to obtain them. This card is ruled by Mars. Wherever Mars is, it's going to fight and push itself really forcefully towards its desires. The third decan is Mars in Pisces. That's basically like having a lack of self-control, an insatiable desire for wanting more, to consume constantly, because it's also Jupiter. Like, this is not necessarily a person. This is a thing that is happening. Remember, you're that drop of water that has merged with the entire ocean, and the entire ocean is colonizer energy. The entire ocean is Tower card. The entire ocean is global pandemic. That's this card. That is the liminal space between Pisces and Aries as we end an entire chapter to a book and we call it happily ever after. We know there's something that comes after that. Endings are things that we constructed in order to make sense of things. The sun has set, the golden hour is diminishing, and you're like, that was beautiful, that was nice, but now we're sitting here and darkness is like looming upon us. T. Susan Chang writes about the rainbow being a vision and beautiful, glorious, but doomed to vanish. And because of that, there is more praise. There is no promise the sun will rise. So really being grateful and present in the moment. 2020 felt like a thunderstorm or a freak snowstorm was on its way throughout the cold night. It really did feel like there was no promise. I'm filming this during the third decan of Pisces. It is a significant time because exactly a year ago, our lives were changed forever, at least here in the US. The third decan of Pisces started on March 9th, which was a Monday, and that was the last normal week many of us had. Whenever Austin talks about this, he brings up the story of Elpis, which is a Greek myth. It's the hope trapped within Pandora's box. He also talks about Prometheus making us blind to our own knowledge of doom and replacing it with hope. It's the awareness of the worst situation and also the best outcome at the same time, because hope is an extension of suffering. The third decan of Pisces is when the pandemic really started to hit. Many people have experienced a lot of like spiritual awakenings for sure, but also just a recalibration to what's truly important to them. It's definitely the narrative that we see here with these three decans of Pisces, like destruction before we can ever begin to rebuild, everything coming down. even if you don't fully buy into all these things, allowing other people to express themselves and communicate alternative forms of viewing the world is going to be something that hopefully is a little bit more normalized in our day-to-day lives. Like, this is our community now. It's digitized. It's the way we interact with people. So coming into an acceptance of this is the world moving forward is letting go of any outdated beliefs, and just not even outdated beliefs, but letting go of any beliefs that we're going to return to the way things were before. Like, there is no going back. That's part of this journey that we've taken over the last year. And as we celebrate our 1 year anniversary of the pandemic and we mourn whatever losses we may have endured, like, hopefully there is some healing to any grief or complex PTSD that might have occurred. I hope there's joy, happiness, and rest. I hope there is value beyond the means of production. There's still emotional tension and feelings of suppression that we're going to have to interact with. But on the flip side, there are extreme spiritual links and other forms of fulfillment and placing value on our time, energy, and the people that we share spaces with. This year was a huge wake-up call, and whether that was to structural systems of oppression or different belief systems, like, this was an immense period of growth. So show gratitude and think back on an entire year of radical changes that happened within all of our lives. Either way, I just want to thank you so much for joining me throughout this conversation. I hope that you learned a new perspective, and I can't wait to start the Decan Walk with the first of Aries. Thanks so much. I hope you have a good one.